Hi folks, welcome to the Cannabis Corner. I'm your host, Kerry Burns. In 1976, when the government of the United States decided it was a good idea to spray paraquat in Mexico on the marijuana fields, the public outcry was unbelievable. People knew that this was a dangerous substance. It was an herbicide. It definitely, one of the main things that it caused was lung problems when you had any of it get on you or anything like that. And the very fact that our government knew that they were going to be spraying marijuana that was bound for the United States, that American citizens was going to smoke, was unbelievable. And when the public back then raised this complaint and just people came to the streets, they were just so mad about it and all. The government's one response was, well, they're smoking an illegal substance. They deserve it. And this is just part of that hardcore, I'm not going to listen to the public type thing that the government has been doing to us, the pot smokers and citizens in this country for a long, long time. This was just an unbelievable move on their part. I mean, why didn't you just fly across America and have one of these biplanes that spray these fields unnecessarily with these pesticides? Why don't you just have those going 24/7 over the citizens of the United States? Because basically you did the same thing. You sprayed a cannabis plant in Mexico that you knew was bound for the United States. You knew the American citizens were going to be smoking it. And all you could think about it was, oh, that's an illegal substance. We don't care about the health issues of what's going to, they deserve it. It serves them right if that's what happens. And not to mention that, what about all the innocent farmers and their lands in Mexico, that, and particularly the ones that grow organic? And cannabis is one of those plants you don't have to spray. You don't have to use commercial fertilizers and stuff. It's one of those that'll grow in a fairly poor soil and still perform well. It doesn't really have any insects that plague it or any type of nuisance insects that you'd have to get chemicals out and spray on. There are some that harbor it, there are some that get into it and all that, but it's not, it doesn't happen to the point where it destroys what the end result of the plant is, and that's the flower tops. But the United States government spraying paraquat, well, that had a major effect. Not only is this substance, it's a quaternary ammonium pesticide is what it is, and it's absorbed into the root systems, it's absorbed into the leaves, and once the material is harvested and dried, that material is present and it's not released until it's smoked. Now, they claimed that by the time that everything dried out and all, that the paraquat was gone, but this wasn't the case, and there were many instances in this country where people were reporting lung problems and stuff. And it came to light after they had smoked some marijuana that they had recently purchased that they knew had come from Mexico. So the government tried to lie out about it all the way around. Another thing they did, though, after they did it in Mexico, they went to Tennessee and tried to do it over there in the wild marijuana fields that were growing in Tennessee. And again, the public came out and said, what are you doing? My God, I mean, wasn't bad enough that you did it in Mexico and now you're doing it in the United States? This is just part of the problem, folks, of what's going on today. Not only is the United States still keeping up their efforts of trying to eradicate not only the marijuana fields, but the poppy fields also, and they spray deadly, dangerous stuff. It's stuff you don't even want to be around, let alone be ingesting something that has it on it into your lungs. I mean, it's the worst thing you could, the lung conditions it's going to generate, and we don't even know what happens down the line if you are exposed to a good dose of it. I'm sure it's carcinogenic or some type of health issue is going to erupt from it. But another thing that's going on down in Mexico, and this is going on between the cartels and stuff, there have been rumors that certain cartel members are spraying pesticides and different chemicals, even deadly chemicals, into the marijuana fields of their competition, trying to just to where they can take over that bit of business and all. And the American citizens we don't know about that. We don't know what's going on down there. They could be having sex on a big pile of it for all we know, and we're smoking what's left of that. I mean, there's no telling what could be. But another big problem, when these cartels, they go through a lot of different ways to try to mask the smell of the plant material when it's brought across the border. A lot of it's wrapped in plastic. They'll press it and then wrap it in plastic and plastic and plastic, and then they'll encase it in a big thick grease or oil or something, wrap it again, and then do another layer. Just all kinds of things like that. The unfortunate thing about it is that the cannabis plant and the material it produces is a very absorbing type material, and particularly of chemical type stuff like that. And so these smells penetrate the plastic and it's absorbed by the marijuana. They spray perfumes and different types of deodorants and stuff trying to mask the smell, just so the dog can't smell it, to throw the dog off. That's why they do this and all. But the smell, once they unwrap the plastic and all that and get it here in the United States and get it ready for the citizens to buy here in this this country, the smell's still there. If you don't let it sit out on the table for 5 or 6 days, if you smoke a joint that comes out of that stuff, you might as well just be taking a hit off the joint like this and then taking a perfume bottle and going like that, because that's exactly what it tastes like. And it's all in this effort for them to try to block the smell of the dog. Why do we do this? Why can't we just let American citizens grow their own cannabis? Why do we have to have all this death and violence from the cartels, and let alone what they're doing to the cannabis that we don't know about? What are the things they're putting on there that we're smoking that we have no clue about? We'll find out in 20 years when we start shaking or getting some little, nervous twitch or something. People, wake up. This is some serious thing. I mean, it's bad enough that the American farmers, the big farm that grows most of the 90% of the food in America, the big farm agricultural corporations, they dose us enough with enough poison. We don't need our cannabis that way also. Please, folks, please, please wake up. Can't you see what this is doing? Can't you see how devastating this is? Can't you see how wrong this is? And all we've got to do is make this plant legal. People in this country would be happy to produce their own. They would be happy not to have to pay cartel prices. They would be happy not to be supporting this violence that goes on south of the border, just so we can get marijuana in this country that we could be growing right here. And of course, right there at the top of the list, we're keeping the hemp industry from happening. Jobs, food, fuel, you name it. Folks, get real. Thank you for joining the Cannabis Corner.